This is Shraddha Nagpal, who has been a cabin crew and in-flight executive for over 6 years. So, Shraddha, can you give us a brief of your career so far?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Johan. And I was working since I was 18 years old, and I didn't really think through about my career decisions. I just went with the flow, to be honest. But I have switched between banking, then going into aviation as an in-flight executive. As an in-flight, I used to head the flights, domestic as well as international. And then I moved into training cabin crew. So I moved into more of a management role. And then I moved into corporate training for different sectors across anything which required frontline service. So it could be insurance companies, it could be hospitals, it could be airlines, it could be hotels, um, anything. So that's how I got into it. And I progressed from one step to the other, like one step took me to the other step. And now I also have got into the education sector because that's where I felt we could also use our skills. So, as of now, I'm an investor in a school and I look after children between the age of 14 months to 12 years old. We are a Montessori school. And I also have continued doing my corporate trainings on a freelance basis. Yeah.
Sounds great. So, what is your main motivation to pursue aviation, a career in aviation, and what did you study?
So I was doing my 11th and 12th from HR college, normal graduation. And then I did my bachelor's in management studies, the BMS program from HR. And it was in the midst of getting into the BMS program where I happened to apply as a cabin crew with a best friend, actually. She wanted to apply, and I just went along with her. And they told me, if you're here, you need to apply. You can't stand in the line. So that's how I applied to be cabin crew. And I got through. My best friend didn't. And I just said, it looks really good fun. It seems nice. Let me see what it is going to be like. And that's how I got into it. But so I didn't, you don't need to really study anything specific to be a cabin crew. For domestic airlines, you just need a 10+2. And for international airlines, you require a graduation in any field. So if you're asking me in terms of educational requirements, those are the educational requirements. And aviation industry just seems really fancy from the outside, and it seems like really easy money. So that's what lures a lot of people towards it. But for me personally, I happened to get into it completely by chance.
Okay, one second, your camera went off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just start it. That sounds amazing. So, it was pretty amazing how you got into flights by
Yeah.
chance. Okay, so what skill do you think it take? What skills does it take to work as a in-flight executive?
I thought the job would be very, very easy, to be very honest. And I didn't really realize the kind of training that goes into being an in flight executive till I got into the airline. And they have a rigorous, every airline across the world has a rigorous 3-month program. So it starts out with service training for a month and then goes into first aid training and then goes into safety modules. And after every training, that is service, first aid, and safety, you give a written exam as well as a viva, that's an oral exam, to be able to fly as a cabin crew. So for me, if you ask me what kind of skill sets, I think you need to be extremely dedicated to what you're doing. You need to have very, very strong time management skills because they are extremely particular about timing, in terms of discipline, in terms of taking care of yourself physically as well as mentally, because you need to be on board 100%. You can't say, like, I'm having an off day, or I have a headache, or I'm not feeling too good, or I'm in a bad mood, so I'm not going to be able to get onto this flight. So you need to be a very dedicated person. You need to be somebody who's extremely disciplined. And the training program that the airlines give you helps you to equip yourself with these skill sets. So, for example, for me, the service training was very simple, and it elevated my ego because I came at the top of my class. But when it came to first aid training, I took it very easy. I thought it was the same as service, and I started becoming very lax with it. And I failed my first aid course the first time. So when you fail, they give you another chance to again appear for the exam. So they practically crushed my ego, and I thought that was very, very important because you're going to be interacting with customers on a flight who are only concerned with service and safety. They don't know your background, they don't know the kind of family you've come from, and it doesn't really matter. So you need to be open to a lot of new experiences, different cultures across the world, and approach your work with a lot of sincerity. So, if you ask me three things, three skill sets, I think you need to be extremely disciplined, you need to be extremely dedicated, and you need to leave your ego outside the door.
Sounds good. So, what guidance do you have for students who are looking to pursue a career in aviation?
Yeah. So there's a very beautiful quote by this lady called Helen Keller. I'm sure we've all heard of her. And she says, "Be of good cheer. Do not think of today's failure, but of the success that may come tomorrow. You have set yourself a difficult task, but you will succeed if you persevere, and you will find a joy in overcoming obstacles." So, for people who are considering taking up aviation as an industry, as a career option, I would say it's a beautiful industry. You're going to meet lots of people, you're going to travel across the world, you're going to be exposed to different temperaments, you're going to be exposed to different people from all across, and you're going to learn a lot. Okay, but if you're doing it, do it right, give it your 100%, and persevere right till the end, because the training is extremely rigorous. It looks really simple, but it is extremely rigorous, and that's why you are risking your life on every takeoff and every landing. So that is the main reason why a person in the aviation industry, especially cabin crew and cockpit crew, is paid very, very highly. It's because of the safety aspect of the flight, right? So I would say if you are planning this as a career, then you need to take care of yourself physically, because there are a lot of requirements in terms of height and weight and your eyesight. So look at the airline that you want to apply to, look at the specifications that they have, and ask yourself a very sincere question to say, is this what I really, really want to do? And if you do, if the answer is yes, then give it your most sincere shot, and keep persevering, keep persevering. So you may apply to one airline and you may get rejected. That doesn't mean that you won't get accepted in another airline. So a friend of mine who applied with me at Jet Airways, she got rejected thrice, but she got accepted at Emirates after 2 years. So it doesn't mean that one airline rejects you, doesn't mean that you can't apply to them again, and neither does it mean that you can't apply to other airlines. So, yeah.
Great. So, thank you, Shraddha. Thank you so much for your time and good luck. And see you later.
Thank you, Johan. Thank